Jo Tate decided to challenge Kim Tate about what she had written in her will in Emmerdale, but her reply only made him more frustrated. Earlier in the week, Graham Foster did some discreet hacking and uncovered Kim's will. Hoping to pull Jo fully onto his side, Graham encouraged him to go through the paperwork. Jo was furious when he realized that Kim intended for Lydia Dingle to take over Home Farm after her death. He vented his anger to Graham, insisting the estate was rightfully his, and promised he would take action. To begin with, he tried to build a connection with Lydia by unexpectedly increasing her wages for her cleaning job. After that, he secretly set up a bank account under her name. As Graham continued digging, he figured out that Jo's scheme was to frame Lydia for stealing from Kim. Jo believed that if Kim suspected Lydia of theft, she would remove her from the will. However, when Graham and Dawn Taylor stepped in and urged him to stop, pointing out that Lydia wasn't the real issue, he was forced to rethink his plan. In the end, Jo chose to confront Kim directly, admitting he had read the will and expressing his feelings about Lydia being chosen to inherit the house. Even though Jo explained that Home Farm was the only place that connected him to his family, Kim refused to reconsider her decision. She explained that leaving the property to Jo would upset her son, Jamie Tate, and in the future, Thomas and Millie would also question why they were overlooked. Kim understood that favoring Jo above the rest of the Tate family would only cause conflict, so she decided Lydia was the safest choice while ensuring the others would be provided for in different ways. Her explanation failed to satisfy Jo once again. Will he come to terms with it? Or will he come up with another scheme to force Kim to change her will and possibly ignite a feud with Jamie? Emmerdale offers a first glimpse at Charity Dingle's dramatic and chaotic labour scenes. Charity Dingle faces a terrifying ordeal next week when she unexpectedly goes into labour while stranded in a remote area. With no choice, she has to rely on Ross Barton, the secret father of her baby, for help, but the situation becomes even more complicated once they reach the hospital. In the upcoming episodes, Charity plans a large baby shower for her granddaughter Sarah Sugden, as she is acting as her surrogate. However, things begin to unravel when the cake fails to arrive on time, prompting Charity and her husband Mackenzie Boyd to go and collect it themselves. While on the way, their vehicle suddenly breaks down, leaving them stuck without any phone signal to call for assistance. A preview clip shows Charity's waters breaking by the roadside, as she tells Mac that the cake is now the least of their concerns. Luckily, they manage to stop a passing car, but Charity is horrified to see Ross behind the wheel. Despite their tension, she reluctantly accepts his help to get to the hospital, much to Ross's own annoyance. Another preview reveals Sarah rushing to Houghton General after hearing that her grandmother is in labour. When she asks about Charity, the receptionist informs her that there's no record of her being admitted. She is then directed toward the maternity ward and warned that the lift is currently out of order. The scene then shifts to the malfunctioning lift, where Charity, Mac, and Ross are trapped inside. As Ross grows increasingly irritated with the lack of help, Charity struggles through intense contractions. At the same time, Mac becomes overwhelmed and collapses, haunted by past trauma from being trapped in a confined space. He admits he no longer handles tight environments well, though he tries to reassure the others that he will manage. In another moment, Sarah reaches the maternity ward but is told Charity hasn't arrived. Initially, a nurse suggests it may have been a false alarm, but after hearing about a woman giving birth in a lift, they quickly realize what's happening. Back inside the lift, a midwife guides Ross and Mac through the delivery via intercom, while Sarah, having found her grandmother, offers emotional support and encouragement. The baby is delivered safely, but concern quickly turns to fear when Charity's loved ones realize she is in a critical condition. With emotions running high between Mac and Ross, the question remains whether Ross will finally confess the truth about the child's paternity. And after such a traumatic experience, will Charity really be able to hand the baby over to Sarah? Emmerdale has confirmed an even darker direction for Dr. Todd's storyline. The show is continuing its intense plot involving Dr. Todd, with the situation worsening for Jacob Sudgeon. The workplace bullying arc has shown Todd repeatedly targeting Jacob, leaving him doubting his competence as a doctor. In more recent episodes, viewers have seen Dr. Todd relocate to the village, and just last week, she claimed to Manpreet Sharma and Vanessa Woodfield that her student has developed an inappropriate crush on her. Discussing the role, Caroline Harker admitted she was unsure where the character was heading when she first appeared in the series as a guest. She explained that although nothing in the script hinted at it initially, she had a slight feeling the character might be expanded due to the positive response from the hospital scenes. Harker also shared that she originally believed Todd would take on a more caring, maternal role toward Jacob, and was surprised by the darker turn the storyline has taken. She described the character as strong, but noted that she expected that strength to be used differently. She also feels that Todd doesn't see herself as being at fault for her actions. This week's episodes will show Jacob filing an official complaint against Todd with HR, and Harker has expressed excitement about how the story will develop. She mentioned that the scripts have been full of unexpected twists, making the experience both surprising and challenging. When asked whether Dr. Todd could ever be redeemed, Harker suggested it would take significant change. She remarked that while anyone can be redeemed, it would require a major transformation in Todd's life for that to happen. Emmerdale star Natalie J. Robb, who plays Moira Dingle, has opened up about why she has never chosen to marry. The actress, who does not have children, has shared her deep love for caring for dogs instead. Now in her 50s and single, she has previously explained that she has no desire to settle down or get married. She revealed that her children are her pets, describing them as an important part of her life. In early 2024, she lost her beloved dog, Bronson, a loss that affected her deeply and continues to stay with her. Since then, she has welcomed a new rescue dog, Buddy, and says she values the companionship animals bring. Speaking further, Natalie reflected on her past relationship with co-star Johnny McPherson and explained that her views on marriage were shaped by her childhood. She shared that her mother's divorce had a lasting emotional impact on her at a young age. Because of that experience, she has never felt drawn to marriage, adding that she doesn't believe it is necessary in modern life. In her view, many people build strong family units without it, especially through raising children together. She also admitted that although she spent years searching for love, she eventually realized that traditional relationships were not the right path for her. Meanwhile, her character Moira Dingle has endured a series of intense challenges on screen. After John Sugden tampered with the slurry tank at her farm, the resulting contamination caused serious damage to her land and disrupted the village water supply for days. The fallout led to heavy fines for Butler's farm, leaving Moira struggling financially. Sensing an opportunity, Kim Tate and Joe Tate began plotting to take control of surrounding land to strengthen their power. Joe brought in Lydia Dingle to help execute his plan, but she ultimately betrayed him and formed a partnership with Moira. However, it soon became clear that Celia was far more dangerous than expected, as she was secretly running a major criminal operation involving drugs, human trafficking, and modern slavery, alongside her son, Ray Walters. Although she initially worked with Moira through a shady farming scheme, their alliance collapsed once Moira discovered the truth. Before her death, Celia planted evidence to frame Moira for murder. At the same time, Joe manipulated events further by blackmailing Robert Sugden into placing incriminating evidence at Moira's farm, which led to her arrest on serious charges. While in prison, Moira faced even more emotional strain as she learned about the full extent of her husband Kane Dingle's cancer. Under pressure, she made the difficult decision to plead guilty in hopes of receiving a reduced sentence, even as she was forced to sell her farm to Kim. Eventually, Robert, Aaron Dingle, Paddy Kirk, and Marlon Dingle worked together to uncover the truth and gather enough proof to clear her name, leading to her release. Emmerdale is broadcast on weekday evenings at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and is also available to stream on ITVX.